Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something absolutely fascinating. We are going to become the system architects of our very own lives. We're talking about upgrading our human hardware using the Cloud Forge philosophy. We'll take those complex cloud computing concepts and apply them directly to our everyday emotional challenges. By the end of this, we're going to map out some highly practical resilience habits so you can build a stronger, totally optimized version of yourself. Let's get right into it.
So tell me if this sounds familiar. Does your brain ever feel exactly like a web browser with, 47 tabs open? And of course, music is blaring from one of them, and you have absolutely no idea which one it is. You know that feeling, right? That dreaded spinning beach ball, the sluggish response, the complete mental exhaustion and burnout we all face when life just gets to be too much. It's a completely universal human experience. But what if we looked at this exact problem through the lens of a system administrator?
Let's look at Section 1, the overloaded human system. Managing high CPU usage. Now, over in the tech world, a bottleneck happens when a system is pushed to its absolute limits. High CPU usage occurs when too many background processes, apps, and tasks are all fighting for the exact same limited processing power. And when that happens, the computer doesn't just work harder, it actually becomes terribly slow, freezes up, and ultimately just stops responding to any new inputs altogether. And this is the absolute core of the Cloud Forge analogy. See, when a computer struggles with too much data, it freezes. Well, when our brains are constantly processing worries, fears, and just endless overthinking, we're essentially running way too many heavy mental programs at the exact same time. We experience that exact same unresponsive exhaustion that an overloaded machine does. Literally, this is the root of so much everyday anxiety. We're simply maxing out our mental CPU.
So how do we fix this? To resolve this everyday anxiety, we have to step into the role of system architect. We actually need to open up our mental task manager and proactively force quit those unnecessary background processes. You've got to pause those endless loops of worry that just aren't serving you. That is exactly how you regain your focus and free up your processing power for what truly matters right now, in the present moment.
Moving on to Section 2, handling life's server crashes, the reality of failure.
Look, in the world of cloud computing, there is one fundamental truth. Servers occasionally fail. It's just a fact. No engineer actually expects a piece of hardware to run perfectly forever without a single hiccup. So instead of trying to create some impossible failure-proof server, they do something smarter. They build reliable systems that are specifically designed to recover, restart, and just continue operating smoothly after a crash.
And we can apply this exact blueprint to our own human setbacks. First, you have the crash. These are the inevitable failures and everyday emotional challenges of life. It happens. Second is recovery. This is where we actively build our resilience. And finally, the restart, picking ourselves up and continuing our operations. The massive takeaway here is that true resilience and recovery matter far, far more than trying to avoid the crash in the first place. Failure isn't the end of your system, guys. It's literally just temporary downtime.
Which brings us to Section 3, sharing your emotional load, the power of load balancers.
If you're not familiar, in tech, a load balancer is this brilliant tool that automatically distributes massive amounts of incoming web traffic across a bunch of different servers. It basically ensures that no single server ever becomes overwhelmed or completely crushed by the pressure. It gracefully handles the surge just by sharing the weight around.
Now think about it. This is exactly how good friendships function in our lives. When life's traffic spikes, when things get incredibly difficult or stressful, good friends step in and act as your personal load balancers. They help carry the emotional burden and share those responsibilities so that no single person has to carry the entire weight of the world on their shoulders.
Like the old saying goes, strong friendships make difficult times easier because burdens are shared. Cultivating these strong, reliable relationships, it's not just a nice-to-have thing. It is a highly practical, absolutely necessary resilience habit for managing life's inevitable heavy traffic. You need your network.
All right, let's look at Section 4, auto-scaling your daily habits, growing through consistency.
So in the cloud, auto-scaling is kind of like magic. When an app starts getting more users, the system just automatically adds more resources to meet that demand. It grows completely organically. These tiny incremental changes running in the background allow a small application to gradually become a massive, incredibly powerful system, and it does it without breaking a single sweat.
Now, let's apply this directly to your daily habits. Think about day one. You might just read, say, 10 pages of a book, or do a very short, light workout. It seems super tiny, right?
But skip ahead to month 1, and that auto-scaling has kicked in. You've formed a steady, reliable routine. Fast forward to year 1, those tiny daily background processes have auto-scaled into massive personal growth. We're talking vast knowledge and incredible physical or mental strength.
The takeaway here is so simple but so important. Consistency scales success. You really don't need massive, exhausting initial effort to change your life. You just need a small habit and the consistency to let it auto-scale over time. That is exactly how you build a powerful, resilient personal infrastructure.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Version Control for Growth, Learning from Mistakes.
In software engineering, developers heavily rely on something called version control. It's a system that saves every single change made to a piece of code. It tracks every bug, every error, every fix. And the beauty of it is, this allows developers to safely learn from previous versions of their software without ever losing their overall progress or having to start from scratch.
And honestly, this beautifully mirrors our own lives. Developers have their code versions to track bugs, and, well, we have our life versions, filled with all our past decisions and, yes, our mistakes. Every misstep you make simply creates another version of yourself. True personal growth comes from reviewing and actually learning from those previous iterations, rather than trying to delete them or pretending those mistakes just never happened.
The ultimate lesson of this entire CloudForge philosophy boils down to this: progress matters more than perfection. Just like the most advanced software in the world, you are always going to be a work in progress. You'll constantly be patching bugs and releasing better updates. And that's exactly how it should be.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to kind of log off with today. If you force quit those unnecessary mental processes, lean on your load balancing friendships, auto-scale your practical resilience habits, and fully embrace your past bugs as learning tools, what will the next version of you look like? Architect it well, my friends. I'll see you next time.